I think the best description I ever heard of Emmett's running style was like someone wrote that he skittered across the field like a hot dog wrapper in the wind, just stopping and then going a little bit more and then stopping and then moving laterally and eventually working his way down the field.
Fullback Daryl Johnston was Smith's most valuable teammate. This bowling ball and cleats rarely carried the ball, but when he did, he adhered to the old maxim that the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. With number 48, harsh contact was inevitable. Johnston's teammates valued this good soldier, who provided the armed escort for all of Emmitt Smith's sensational runs.
Hand off, Emmitt Smith, up the middle, running 35, 30. One tackle to break it down, 25, 20. Straight to the end zone, to the 10, to the 5. Touchdown, Cowboys.
Absolutely incredibly strong run by Emmitt Smith. Let's go East! Let's go East!
He had a great sense of inner pride and wanted to be something more than just a good player. He wanted to leave footprints on the game.
Top of the evening, top of the Friday evening, and it's your boy B Jizzle on the prime time show with my guy Bob, the Cannabis Cowboy in Colorado down there. Y'all know him. What's up, Bob? How we doing?
Doing good, BG. How you doing, man? Happy Friday. It's a wonderful day. Wonderful day.
Yeah, it's a wonderful day. We are going to celebrate the Moose. You know, Moose. Yeah, that's right. We're 48 days away from Thursday Night Football kicking off on NFL. But before we get into Moose and all of the celebrations, and have you been experimenting with AI on Facebook? Are you getting into the AI creation on YouTube? Yeah, there's some news on that. Tap in. We got a special admin from OAT. That's an AI. He's my AI guy. We're going to welcome him to the show very briefly. But let's get into the first little bit of news before we bring on Rob here. Let's talk about this $500,000 the Cowboys are about to take from Trayvon Diggs for not working out at the facilities during the offseason. Bob, what's your thoughts on that?
Listen, man, you get employed by an employer. The employer does everything they possibly can to cover all of your needs as a human being in the NFL game. The Dallas Cowboys probably being the most prolific and most effective in doing that with all the facilities they have. So when you sign up as a teammate, you pretty much agree to say, listen, I'm going to do everything that you guys agree that I need to do for myself while being in this team. And if you decide to go train or go to another doctor, that's kind of on you. And if you don't get positive results, then you can get doctor money. And that's exactly what happened. I think that's just the way it is, man. Whether I like it or not doesn't really matter. If it's in a contract, it shouldn't be news.
Yeah, here's DallasNews.com. Cowboys reduced Trayvon Diggs' salary for not working out enough. I guess he had to have 80% of his workouts there according to his contract numbers, which is understandable. And I think Trayvon knew this is coming. I don't think this is Trayvon going like, why are you taking my money? But I just thought that was funny because, Trayvon, after that, about an hour later, he came out on his Instagram and reported, you can't knock me off my pivot. But if you're tapping in right now, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. We're streaming live on 3 platforms. We got some more Cowboys news to get into tonight on a Friday evening. Welcome to the show, everybody on Facebook. Welcome everybody on LinkedIn and on YouTube. Shout out to my guy, Mike Rock. Gym Rat 2023 of the year in the building, y'all. Y'all give it up for my guy, Mike Rock. But we're going to get on to some other news in just a second. Let's just welcome our guest to the show because, Bob, you're an admin at OAT. Did you know we got an AI admin now in OAT?
The only reason I know it is because I see it underneath some of the ads. And I was saying to myself, do we have an artificial intelligence person or is there a person controlling the artificial intelligence? And I was hoping it was a person, so that's good to know.
Yeah. Shout out to my guy Rob. Welcome, Rob, to the team, baby. OAT, AI, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I
88
like it.
behavior, baby. Welcome to the show. How we doing out there in the DFW, Rob?
Doing great, man. And this is a great opportunity to be able to come on to the show and just, talk about AI a little bit and kind of where it's going. But, AI is something else, man. And you have to be careful when you use AI.
Yeah, I've had no choice, especially in OAT. They tell us admins, do you want to activate AI? I know a lot of y'all have seen some questions go through in our group OAT, and you're like, what are these questions? These seem kind of generic. Well, that's the AI generated questions, but our AI admin is here to give us some content in the name of 88 behavior. And we'll get to that in just a little bit. Let me ask you your thoughts real quick about how would it feel if you lost $500,000 off your contract for not working out 80% of the time in OAT, Rob?
Like Bob was saying, you're part of a team organization, you signed a contract. So if you're not doing what you're supposed to do as a player, then you absolutely should get your pay docked, because they expect you to be at the facility. And most of us that played any kind of sports know that if coach tells us to be somewhere, and especially if they paying you that kind of money, then you need to be where you're supposed to be. To me, it's just that simple.
I hear you. Just like we said, that news broke, and about an hour later, Trayvon Diggs posted on his story here. I shared on my timeline. He says, can't knock me off my pivot. Now, I don't want to really peel this too far back because, it's just Trayvon. Yeah. We still got to get to Micah. We still got to get to Jaden Blue. We still got to get to our guy, Moose. So if you're joining us in the comments, leave us your favorite Moose memory in the comments down there below as we celebrate 48 days away. But yeah, I was telling Bob about you, Rob. Bob was like, I thought it was going to be like an AI character on the show. He's like talking about a real person. I told him, I said,
worried.
Hey, we're going to have the AI guy from OAT on it. He was like, oh, it's going to be like a robot, huh?
Yeah, I thought I was going to stump some AI program or something like that. I'm actually very happy it's a human, though. I'm very happy you're not an actual AI.
Rob, what can you tell folks that are especially content creators like myself and Bob how to begin about going to look at AI? Because I see a lot of members in our group sharing a lot of AI-driven content. Where would you tell brand new beginners to go to learn about AI? Because, everybody thinks AI is going to take over the world. So where would you tell Cowboys fans in the creative mode to try to look at creating some AI content to start off with?
So the first thing when you're dealing with AI, number one, you don't want to ever lose your creativity. That's number one. Because when you get into the AI space, it's very easy for you to shut off the creative part of your brain. So you need to realize that, first of all. And then number two, I don't believe that AI will fully replace human beings. But when it comes to being a content creator, there's a lot of, we know about NFL memes and things of that nature. So you really need to be creative. You have to put in certain prompts, like a lot of the stuff y'all seen on the OAT page. Those are prompts that I put in to tell it what type of image that I'm trying to create, like the CD Lamb ones, or you might have seen the one with the OAT 88 bunch cereal box,
Yeah.
So I'm telling it to do certain things, and I specifically use Chat GPT. There are better ones out there, but that's kind of where I hung my hat, was in Chat GPT, and I found out about Chat GPT, I guess maybe a year ago or so, and I just wanted to see how creative that I could be, especially me having gone to school to be a graphic designer first, and now finishing my bachelor's in cybersecurity.
It is.
That was kind of key for me, because I wanted to learn to do other things. I like pictures, I like memes and everything, but also to be able to do those things that I've done, I pay for this version of Chat GPT, because as a free user of Chat GPT, then you're limited to what you can create. Whereas if you pay for a subscription, which I got the most I guess, the cheapest one. And so I really wanted to kind of test the limits of what I could do. But, when I started sending things to you about, put you in a meme and things like that, you was like, maybe we onto something and that you wanted to get into the AI space. But like I say, absolutely never lose your creativity. Know what you're using it for. You can use it to make money, so you just kind of be careful with what you're doing when you use AI. That way you don't shut off the creative part of your brain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Bob, check out this Des Bryant. I mean, this spot on. You know what I mean? Eligible for the Hall of Fame class 2026. This was posted in OAT a few weeks back. Rob has been messaging me for years, Bob, and he's like, hey, check out this. There's a design for your T-shirt. Hey, you could check this out. You could do this. You could do that. And, he's always persisted, and I appreciate that, because when I began to see him post about the AI and talk about that, I said, you know what? Would you like to be an admin and, share the AI content? Because we got some things bubbling here as we get into some more news, and we'll circle back on this AI stuff. But we got some things bubbling with 88 behavior coming up in OAT, because I know Playmaker's your favorite guy, right, Bob?
Yes, sir.
Do you have a favorite player of all time? If you do, Rob, share it with everybody here today so we know.
So my favorite player of all time would have to be Reggie Swinton. I love Emmett and Michael and Moose and all those guys, because I grew up watching the Cowboys in the late 90s. Started watching them, I guess, in about 89 to 1-15 season, and just kept watching them because Dallas Cowboys are like a staple in my family. But Reggie Swinton would be my favorite one, and the reason I say Reggie, because Reggie went undrafted. Actually, they found him while he was playing for the Arkansas Twisters, and I believe it was the special teams guy that brought him in for a tryout. And
nice.
So he kind of helped us during the lean years in the early 2000s, if y'all remember those 5-11 seasons, because every time Reggie got the ball, he was a threat to score. So he's my favorite all-time Cowboy.
So for some of us, especially that's tapping in today, that may not know Reggie Swinton, what position did he play, Bob? Rob?
So he was a kickoff. Well, he was a specialist that played receiver sometimes. He was a punt return specialist and a kickoff return specialist, and I think he was like the third receiver. He was never a number one or number two, but he was kind of the guy that could spell other guys when they put him in the game during the Dave Campo years. And,
right.
and partially
that's how I remember. I think I remember him listed as a wide receiver, but I know that it was usually a kick return guy of some fashion, but those are mysterious years. Thinking about the early 2000s, there was a lot of crazy teams, a lot of different people coming in and out of our teams. It was pretty crazy.
There's Mike Rock tapping in. Mike Rock says kick return, punt return, wide receiver, nailed it on the head. He knows your guy there talking about Reggie. Well, that was Reggie Swinton, and let's talk about the elephant in the room. And that comes with Micah Parsons. As we talk about all things in the jungle, I mean, Moose, well, I don't know. Moose is up in Alaska. That's another thing. But TJ Watt just recently got paid, which drove up the number because we've been waiting on Micah Parsons' extension. I don't know. Let's get a little bit of feedback. I want to hear from you, Bob. What is this? Does this TJ Watt contract, other than raising the price, raise the urgency for the Cowboys maybe to get him done before we get into training camp next week? Or are we going to see Micah holding in?
I say right away for people who are starting to freak out about this whole thing, as if it doesn't fall under the entire changing the culture thing. Let's just realize that our coaches can only change one thing at a time, and one thing they're definitely not going to change is what Jerry wants to do with his money. No one's going to tell Jerry what he wants to do with his money. No one's going to tell Jerry how to spend it or when to spend it. But I will tell you this. As much as we were sick of seeing the same kind of offense over and over again, the same kind of attitude towards players and towards coaches over and over again without changing culture, we have to be more intelligent in our approach to how we re-sign our players, because it always seems like we wait for people at that exact position to get their money before we throw money on these folks. And I don't understand why. It's almost like we're always setting ourselves up to be behind the eight ball when it comes to salary cap, because we wait for all these other guys to get position money, and they set the market, and then we have to beat it. It could be a chest-pounding thing for Jerry for all I know, because he's got money, but our team doesn't always have money. So I don't know. It's kind of tough.
It's looking like Bob or Rob, maybe we should get our popcorn because we probably seen this movie again, a la CeeDee Lamb, a la Dak Prescott last season. I mean, Dak came in and played without a contract. But let me ask you this, Rob out there. I mean, Micah participated minimally in OTAs, but not fully. And I don't know if he don't get this deal done, especially now with TJ Watt's deal. You think Micah's actually going to show up and practice full pads and everything?
If I'm Micah, I don't know if he's going to fully participate in practice, only because he might have a contract. Knowing the history of Jerry when it comes to being the last person to bring up the rear with contracts, and we've seen it going all the way back as far as most of us can remember. You know, he kind of wants to be that headline guy. He wants to be the one to set the standard for salaries because, you know, Jerry is the kind of owner that he likes to make headlines. And so with Micah not being signed, I can see Micah probably making 46 million a year if possible. I mean, if TJ got 41 million, which I hope not, because at the end of the day, we know what that does to the salary cap. It's going to force some guys out of there. It's going to force some people to get cut. So, you know, that's what I think about Micah. If I'm Micah and I'm not getting paid, man, or I don't have a contract, I'm not practicing. That's just me.
Well, that's exactly what I said about Dak Prescott last season. I was like, Dak on no deal. Like, if he were to come in and get hurt in camp, he wouldn't. I mean, he would have had that last year of his deal last year. The Cowboys, I don't think, would have re-signed him. I mean, let's just call it what it is. But now Micah reporting, and as bad as we need Micah on this defense, which he was ranked third behind DJ Watt and Myles Garrett, I believe. You know, this holding ain't going to fare well for this defense, I don't think. We're going to need him on time because, I mean, he really didn't participate fully in OTA. So if you're just tapping in down there in the comments, let us know, do you think Micah is going to participate as we move through some more of this Cowboys news? And we're going to get to Moose. And before we do that, I'd like to just throw the ball back to Bob a little bit. Or Rob, I'm sorry. I'm getting confused. Rob, sorry. Probably going to do that about 15 more times here. But you've got your podcast, Feast or Famine. And it's talking to high school coaches and youth coaches that are out there. You're doing more than just AI stuff at OAT. You know what I mean? You're also building your own brand. Talk to us a little bit about Feast or Famine on your podcast.
Okay, so how Feast or Famine got started, a little bit of background. I started coaching at the high school level my first year in the Army while I was stationed overseas in Vicenza, Italy. And so I went over to the high school because, you know, I'm fresh out of high school, so I feel like I have something to contribute. So I went to contribute to that high school football team, volunteer basis. Nobody asked me to do it. Fast forward to 2002 when I got stationed to Japan. I went up to the high school and was talking to the head coach at the time. And I was like, do you need any help up here? And so, of course, he was going to welcome me with open arms, but I kind of deferred that dream, I guess, until it was about 2005. And I was talking to some kids in the, I guess where the food court is at AFES. And,
okay.
You know, I would always look and see what's going on with the high school. And so I stopped a couple of the kids and I say, hey, man, how's your season going? He's like, man, we suck, man. This coach don't know what he's doing. so anyway.
Kids will tell you.
They tell you the truth. So another friend of mine, his name was Robert too. He was like, hey, man, won't you come to the high school? We need some help. So anyway, long story short, so I've been doing this for about 28 years now. And what kind of motivated me to start Feast of Famine, you know, I participated in a couple of DFW high school groups, just giving knowledge about the game and things of that nature. And I saw that a lot of the guys that were responding in the group, they were only focusing on the fan perspective. But the insight that I provided was actual things like, y'all guys are talking about this team going to win. Did anybody watch film? So finally, I just kept sitting on it. I was like, man, I got to do something about this. So what I did was I wanted to put out a book, but I didn't have a vehicle for the book. And my thing in the group was always, are they living in a feast or famine? And so I decided to do a podcast to be a vehicle to promote my book and I've done, this is my third season doing it. So what I've done is the first season I talked about, putting out a book, giving tips to the coaches about how they can be productive, because the thing was a lot of teams weren't winning, and I felt like nobody was recruiting in the hallways, kind of like old school coaches did. They come to go find a linebacker, man, they gonna see who's on the basketball team, who's just goofing off in the hallway. So that kind of began the mantra that I ran behind. And so as the podcast has progressed, I kept talking about releasing a book, and I kept leading up to it in the podcast. So at the end of 2023, I started working on the book. I guess this was about June. I started working on the book. And I was like, I really want this to be something that anybody can pick up and improve their team immediately. And so I put the book out. The book came out in January of 2024, which now it's on its second edition because I went back and modified some things, changed the order, some things that I felt could be beneficial. Because, if anybody didn't know, during my time at Zuma, when the kids told me that they were getting blew out, I think like 41-0. And so what I did was I went and got some drills, and we were able to improve that team's defense from giving up 41 points to down to about 13 points in about 2 weeks.
Hey, can you get on the phone with Eberflus? I mean, because we was ranked 28th last season, dog. Maybe they need a little 88 behavior on their defensive side of the ball with the AI.
and I'll say this: I think what's really preventing us as Cowboys being successful, I think sometimes pride can get in the way, and you're not as successful as you could be if you were to go get some outside help. So that's kind of what I'm believing that this Feast of Famine is going to turn into.
Yeah, this good counsel is a good thing to have as we get into some more news. Man, it's more news. Camp is getting ready to kick off. By the way, I placed his Instagram link down there in the comments below, so that way y'all can go. We'll talk to Rob a little bit more about his podcast here as we get through some more of this news. I want to get to this latest and greatest. This is what popped here today, talking about Jaden Blue. Everybody is high on Jaden Blue. I want to know, are you drinking the Jaden Blue Kool-Aid? Because it's a trap.
It's a trap.
Yeah, it's a trap. There was a podcast from a former coach put out today, and here's what he had to say. He was connected to the Cowboys, talking about Jaden Blue's work ethic. He says, I'm already hearing some rumblings about the running back that they drafted, and him being, kind of just borderline lazy. Not in the building, doing his offseason workouts. Former Cowboys assistant Glenn Smith said during an appearance, locked on the Cowboys. Now, I know folks said that Jaden came out and addressed this right off the top. They said, hey, that's fake news. What a fake article, trying to get some spin. But 'tis the season, right, Bob? Are you buying this? Are you drinking this Kool-Aid or nah on Jaden Blue?
It's real tough to fool me. It's real tough to get over on me. I grew up in Miami's in the 70s and 80s and 90s, man. It's real tough to fool me. As soon as this thing popped up, I said, BS. This is either someone who, I don't even know who the name was that posted it, but there's going to be no reputable name tagged on that in any way. And it was such a blatant smear that I said to myself, all right, cool. This is again, I think you posted something 2 days before that, like prepare yourself for the BS to start hitting you. And no less than a day later, that Jaden Blue thing came up. So no, I didn't believe it. I don't believe anything like that comes out. I think if that were to be leaked, it would have been leaked in a little bit more of a slicker way. It maybe would have been attached to a comment a coach made, that another comment another coach made, and somebody it would have never been so obvious like that. So yeah. Unless that guy's just an absolute idiot, which we would have known this in college, I knew that was BS right off the bat. I am really, really high on this kid too, man. I want to see this kid make the team, but I also wanted Vaughn too. So I like the underdogs, the fast-ass little underdog dudes.
We're going to talk a little bit more about the running backs here, but I want to ask Bob or Rob. Damn, I'm going to get it right.
Do it.
Rob, hey,
We probably
you were in the
both heard
Army.
both the entire life.
Yeah,
We both heard Bob and
y'all
Rob.
just get used to it. Rob, you were in the Army. I was in the Navy, and every time before we got ready to pull into a port because we had been out to sea, we get this thing called channel fever, like where we get real excited because we got a pocket full of money. We're ready to pull into a foreign port and get off the ship. Was there anything like that in the Army where maybe y'all was in the bush or the field or wherever and y'all got excited about coming off a deployment or something? What do they call that? Is it channel fever too, or what do they call that in the Army? Or is there such a thing?
There is such a thing. Typically, it would probably be like on payday activities or something of that nature when you would get dressed up in your dress greens and you're getting ready to go on a 4-day pass, a 4-day weekend pass, because it's a holiday coming. You just got paid, and you just ready to go, or coming out of the field. You've been out in the field for 3 or 4 days, and of course, payday done roll by, so you got money in your pockets, and you just can't wait to get to it to burn some money up. So, I mean, I know you Navy guys. My grandfather was in the Navy, and so he was stationed at Yokosuka in Japan. So much hasn't changed there. At least 20 years ago, I was stationed at summer. So yeah,
I'm jonesing right now. I got channel fever for training camp, like you said, pocket full of money, getting ready to spend it because I plan to be there to August 4th and 5th. But we ain't even in training camp yet, and we've already got all this news coming back out as we circle back around. Kales with the intels tapping in with some great context going back to Micah Parsons' contract. She says, I want to see who's going to reset the defensive end market. Then I can disseminate Micah's contract. I can't base it off what Watt's extension. He's getting paid as a linebacker. Ooh, the plot thickens. Yeah, I mean, TJ Watt paid as a defensive end or a linebacker, right? And Micah Parsons is a defensive end. I heard linebackers get paid more than defensive ends anyway. So is Micah getting ready to be the defensive end to get paid more than a linebacker?
I mean, look, I've been screaming since day one that guy should have been that Micah should have stayed as a linebacker for us. He would have been one of the best linebackers in the NFL right now, on top of having the ability to get on the line and rush every once in a while. The moment we pigeonholed this kid into an end position, I think did his game a disservice. But that's neither here nor there. We did what we did. I still think it's odd that there is even a difference between the two pay, if I'm being honest. But I mean, there are two different jobs. You're going to see a lot more coverage out of a linebacker. You're going to see a lot more activity and possibly being a leader of the defense as well. Whereas it's basically just sort of like a blind rush as a defensive end. So I don't know, man. I really do wish we would have kept him as a linebacker, but he's going to get paid. He's going to get good money for his position, because he's damn good at that position. As much as people don't want to think that he's just so good.
Yeah, everybody's already barking now. No, he shouldn't get paid more than Watt. Well, we got the depth chart up here, and I'm going to throw that question to you too as well, Rob.
Okay.
How do you feel about Micah being on the defensive end instead of a linebacker? As we take a look at the ESPN depth chart to give us some context here, it says Micah Parsons is where? Right defensive end. So not as a linebacker, but is that a disservice, or is that something the Cowboys are known to do? Move good players from one position to a lower paying other position so they don't have to pay them. But I think Micah's still is he going to be the highest paid linebacker ever?
He's a linebacker, no doubt. But I see it from two sides. The Dallas Cowboys are smart because they know that linebackers demand more money. They've watched the history of us watching DeMarcus Ware march out of Dallas. The kid that ended up going to Kansas City, I can't remember his name, was another linebacker. So when it comes time to pay linebackers, Dallas, they don't like to pay linebackers. So if I can get you out of position, which we know Micah's out of position, I can see him getting double and triple teamed on the line of scrimmage. First of all, he's too small to be a defensive end. I played defensive end undersized. He's too small. Yes, he can rush the quarterback. They're really doing their defense a disservice by having him at defensive end. Will he get paid as a defensive end? I think he's going to raise the defensive end market. I don't know if it's going to be as much as Von Miller, because we know Von Miller is a linebacker that plays.
Yeah, Von Miller recently just signed with somebody, didn't he? With the
Washington.
Commanders.
Washington.
Ooh, Dan Quinn trying to get some more beef over there.
Yeah, he's a linebacker, but he plays up on the line like Lawrence Taylor used to do back in the day. So that's the difference.
Yeah, but he can drop back and cover and be pretty damn good at it. Whereas if you lock someone in an end position, that pretty much goes away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I want to say this. This is just a gut feeling, y'all. This is not me trying to be cute and come up with what I think is going to happen. But honestly, if you know the history when it comes to paying players, especially around training camp and the NFL kicking off, I mean, are we going to really see Micah get paid in the first week? I mean, that would be like something new for the front office. So let us know in the comments below. When do you anticipate seeing Micah getting his contract? Because I'll tell you this, if he holds in, so he doesn't get fired. See, a lot of people say, oh, well, he said he's going to be there. I think a lot of people are getting confused over holding out versus holding in. Holding out means you don't report, kind of like what CD did last season and kind of what some other folks have done and gotten fined. But a hold in means you're there, so you're not fined. Kind of like Marshawn Lynch. Micah's going to be there just so he won't get fined. I mean, I hope I'm wrong because I want Eberflus and his defense to get this shit in shape because ranked 28 last season, stopping the run. I mean, the NFC East has got nothing but better through the draft and this offseason when it comes to running the ball. Take a look at, you got Saquon Barkley already with the champs coming. We got to see night one. We got another running game. Cam Scatterbull went to the New York Giants. I mean, you got the running game out there in Washington too as well. But let us know in the comments below, when do you think Micah is going to get paid? Because I hope it's sooner rather than later. I hope we don't have a hold in. I hope he just reports next week and we get this stuff done. But something tells me I don't think that's going to be the case. Bob, do you see Micah holding in or coming in and participating, or do you see him? I mean, because he said he'd be there at camp, which we know he will be. He was at OTAs. He's kept his word, but being there as a hold in is different than being there and participating.
Right, and I truly believe that he, like every other NFL player who came from college who had dreams of being a millionaire, is going to focus on being the biggest millionaire that could possibly be. He's going to listen to his agent. His agent's going to say, sit in, do what you got to do, but we're going to battle this out, and we're going to get you the best money you could possibly get because you're one of the best defensive ends, and that's just how it's going to be. I wish sometimes we could go back to the days before free agency where there was a little more loyalty, but there was also a lot of disloyalty on the team side too, so I understand why this whole thing had to turn into what it turned into, because teams were taking advantages of players for a long, long time. So I think there's a little bit more fairness, but it also took a little bit out of the game for me. So I don't know. He's still. I think he's still going to do what every other person does, and he's gonna do whatever he can to get his money and not hurt himself or get injured in the meantime.
I mean, because could you have imagined last season if Dak had held in and didn't get his contract? I mean, because Jerry loves to gas the media, and Rob, you know this too as well. Jerry knows how to manipulate and manufacture a media at its best. I mean, how else are we worth over $10 billion and we ain't been to an NFC championship game? I mean, do you think is this another play out of Jerry's playbook, Rob, or is we going to see Micah get paid the first week so we can go back to business as usual?
We should know Jerry by now. We know Jerry likes to play. We know it's a live drama for the Dallas Cowboys because he realizes the power of media. He's smart when it comes to his money. And so I think, like I said before, Jerry wants that breaking headline news. He wants to be the center of attention. And when it comes to Micah, it's going to be the same thing. So he's just waiting. This is another typical play out of the Jerry Jones playbook, especially for us. We haven't won a Super Bowl since I was a senior in high school. So that ought to tell you something. I'm 46 now, and they was, 17 when they won the last one. So that ought to tell you something.
All right, now you're going to age us all three here a little bit, Rob, but it's all good. But let's get back to the topic at hand as we're 48 days away from the NFL kicking off on Thursday Night Football. And was Moose the best fullback the NFL ever seen? That's a question I got for my guys here on the show and for you in the comments below as we celebrate Moose here today. And let us know your favorite Moose memory, or give us a quick Moose, or throw us some Moose emojis up in the comments and let us know that you're tapping in with us. But Rob on the bottom, do you think Moose was the best fullback the NFL has ever seen?
Was he the best the NFL has ever seen?
Was he the best fullback? Has he been the best fullback ever?
For the position that he played with Dallas during the heydays of Dallas in the 90s, I have to say yes. I mean, I've seen other good fullbacks. Of course, I never saw Larry Zonka play except for in old NFL films. And then, of course, Mike Alstott came along at the time. But I think for the scheme that Dallas was running, I think he was probably the best at that position because he's the reason why Emmitt Smith is the all-time NFL leading rusher. So you see he did a lot of the dirty work. And as today game, you don't see much of the fullback, even in Dallas, playing much. So as far as Dallas scheme is related in the 90s, I think he was probably the best in the 90s for his time that he played. I don't see anybody else doing it better.
Bob, is the NFL hunting the last of a dying breed? Because we got Hunter Lipke. He's not even on the depth chart. As you take a look at the ESPN depth chart that I have up right here, let's take a look at the running back room. Javonte Williams. We got the 2 veterans up top. We got Miles Sanders talking about a revenge tour, RB2. Then Jaden Blue, who just got accused of having problems with his work ethic. And then Deuce Vaughn. There's no Hunter Lipke on there. There's not even Phil Maffa, the rookie. Now, we know the Cowboys are typically going to keep 4. But when it comes to fullbacks, I mean, is the NFL hunting a dying breed with the fullback?
Some players, I think I'd love to see it if I'm being honest. And ask Eric, John, any of my boys I grew up. We were all in high school watching this game, watching Moose plow the way the entire time, and it's just something you don't see that much anymore. They've found ways, and I think really what it is they're trying to find a way to get more efficient without hurting a player. Because if you see what Moose did over and over as just an absolute refrigerator plowing the way, it is such a loveless position. It's so easy to overlook it. It's easy to see what Mike said down there, which come on, Mike, you know better than that. Larry Allen is not the reason why these running backs got what they got. the running backs got what they got.
You know, that's Mike's guy, though. You know he gonna rep his guy, though.
Yeah, I know. Mike's just tugging it. But you know, it's different as a fullback too, because it started. I think the fullback position started off the way we know Moose Johnston played it, but it evolved with the Mike Alstotts coming through and other teams scheming other ways to bring an athlete in there that's not just a bruising dude that can pop holes open, that can actually go out in the flat and do some things, maybe even be a receiver. So I think in terms of purity, Moose Johnston was definitely one of the best. I don't know that he was the best, but he definitely was the best for the Dallas Cowboys ever. He is the greatest fullback in Dallas Cowboys history, in my book, for sure.
Yeah, I'm just gonna throw it out there. Best in the NFL. I know the All-Star fans are gonna come running for me. That's cool. But Rob brought up a great point. He did block for the GOAT. As we talk about the lion, we're talking about a moose, we're talking about a goat. I mean, it's a big zoo here on Friday. I mean, he said the quickest point from point A to point B is a straight line. If you caught that intro coming in, it said Emmitt Smith looked like one of those hot dog wrappers, kind of blowing with the wind, stopping, and then, running over here and then stopping and running over here. But they said, Daryl Johnston would run straight through you from point A to point B. What none of this skirting around and footwork and all this, it's right through the middle of you. I mean, you think Hunter Lipke might make this team, this 53-man roster this season on the last year of his deal, Rob, or are we seeing the last of a dying breed truly on the Dallas Cowboys in fullback position?
I'm going to tell you what, if he makes the team, it's on the practice squad because I think Shoddy is going totally away from the fullback position. I mean, you look at the offenses now, you look at the Rams offense, you look at the Chiefs offense, you really don't see a fullback. Can he do other things? Sure. Can you put him in packages? Sure. When you talk about 22 personnel, 31 personnel, things of that nature. But I think if he's not on the roster now, he's probably a long shot to make the roster. Like I say, he's probably going to be on the practice squad somewhere. And they're shifting away from a traditional offense with a fullback to where you can put running backs in the slot position and to be a more up-tempo offense. So I say no.
Got you. Hey, Bob. Mike's firing back at you, says, okay, our offensive line was a reason. No line, no runs. We with you, baby. Them trenches matter, and they are going to definitely matter this season because we're hearing that even though we got a running back by committee, so if you've been on my Patreon, you know I've been talking about this. If you don't know what RBB stands for, I think, Rob, you say you're going to be playing fantasy football with us on LinkedIn. Have you played fantasy before, or is this your first time this season?
No, I haven't played fantasy football in a while. I think the last time I played it was like in 2008 or something like that. But yeah, I plan on joining the fantasy football league to see if I can win again. I was a first time winner before I played. So
you was using AI on your picks.
Now, well,
Chat GBT. I know what it was.
Back then there was no AI. You know, I think that was the year that Dallas had a really good defense, and so I just kept them as my defense, and the offense was pretty good that year. So I pretty much swept through the season. So I mean, I don't know if that's gonna happen this year, but you know, that fantasy football, man.
Well, the reason I asked is because I mean, there's going to be a couple of these running backs. I mean, Phil Maffa not on the roster. I mean, it's understandably. Now, we know the rosters can change because we haven't even made a 53-man roster. I think we got 91 bodies coming into camp, and we got to get that down after 3 preseason games, which the first one will be kicking off on August 9th, Saturday at SoFi Stadium. I thought I would be there, but I'm not. But I will be there Monday and Tuesday at training camp, August 4th, August 5th, boots on ground. So if you're going to be there, pull up on your boy. I will be there for the Rams-Cowboys scrimmage there, but I'm not really looking at the running backs per se as much as I'm going to be looking at, which I think is our greatest acquisition this offseason in Joe Milton. So let me ask you this question, Rob. How did you like the Joe Milton trade with New England in terms of backing up Dak after we've seen our guy Cooper Rush go to the Baltimore Ravens?
Well, I felt like it was time for a real backup quarterback. Nothing against Cooper Rush. He came in and did exactly what they expected him to do as a backup quarterback. We know the history of backup quarterbacks in Dallas. I mean, probably the best one we had probably was Steve Berline back in the 90s. But Joe Milton coming in, I'm going to tell you something. He's the one that Dak better watch out for because he's fast, he can throw, he can rush, all those things that these modern quarterbacks are doing now. And I'm going to tell you something, maybe not this year, but if for any reason Dak gets hurt, he may not get the driver's seat back, man. If Joe can run the offense and be efficient, he can spell Dak, then man, this might not this season, but next season definitely. And he comes on strong like he's been doing. Dak better watch out for the watch out money included, all of that. So yeah, I mean, I think this is probably the best backup signing we've had in more than 2 decades.
Bob, you know how they say it, you get them how you lose them. I mean, Tony Romo went down, Dak entered the picture. I hate to say it, but Dak is on year 9. He got to shit or get off the pot this season because Bazooka Joe, I think, has got some pressure that Cooper Rush couldn't put on Dak Prescott. And I mean, you and I both know, and I think Rob knows too as well, as soon as we get into the season, and if Dak is coming out the gates a little rusty, like he was last year with, CeeDee Lamb, because CeeDee Lamb wasn't at camp. There was a little rust there, right? We got George Pickens coming in. Don't know what may happen. Everybody think that's going to be golden, but I think that's a trap too. More on that in just a little bit. But going back to Dak Prescott, I mean, is this the year for Dak? He's got to make or break it. Is this a make or break year for Dak, even though he's 2 years on his contract? Because if the Cowboys start faltering in the first few games, here come the Dak haters. Fire Dak and put in Bazooka Joe.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's you should expect that to happen, especially if you're the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. That's the thing that they don't put in the contract that you should already know. You have the single most pressure on you from the media as well as the reputation of everything that happened before you got there. So I love Dak, man. Dak's a great guy. He's a great kid. He's just one of those model kids you want representing your team, but we also know what he gives us as a quarterback, and that's not next level quarterback. I don't know that he's a championship quarterback. He hasn't shown us that yet. He's shown us that he can actually make some mistakes when it comes down to the wire in championship games. So, but I've seen him do such great things over the course of his his career that it's hard for me to sit here and even down the kid, man. He's just so good, man. And just a couple years ago, he was one of the best in the league, man. So I don't know, man. His inconsistency and the times he got hurt really hurt me for him, because I know just a great guy that guy is, man. And it would have been amazing for him to be not only a great guy, but one of the greatest quarterbacks that Dallas ever had. It would have been a great story, but we don't know if that's true yet.
Shout out to Park Ranger tapping in. Great context here. This is one of the things as I talk about Bazooka Joe, and I'll get to your comment here in just a second, Kels. Great context you're adding there too as well, because we're going to see what Joe's capable of there. But I think we're going to see Dak. That's what I'll be looking for on the 5th. While I'm there, the Cowboys and the Rams. Is Dak going to get any reps in scrimmage, and or will we see Dak in any preseason games? So let me just throw that to you, Rob, at the other end. Do we see Dak Prescott? Because traditionally we haven't seen Dak Prescott in any preseason games. Is it going to be imperative he's going to get some snaps in any of these preseason games?
Absolutely. If the Cowboys are smart, because typically you don't even see him a series, he needs to get a series in during the beginning of these preseason games. I'm going to tell you something. It always tells on Dallas that he hasn't had any reps with the first team. It's a difference between scrimmage reps and live action reps. Yes, the Rams are coming to scrimmage them, but it's not a live game. And it always tells on Dallas that he's the only one. Everybody else looks like they're in mid-season form. But when Dak gets under there for his first series in the first game, you can always tell that he hadn't had no reps. So I expect him to have some reps in the preseason, because it's going to only help him, even if it's just, I don't know, handing the ball off or doing some short dump off passes. Because I think the Cowboys are probably transitioning, I would say, to a West Coast style offense. So he definitely needs to get the reps.
You bring up a great point. Nobody knows what this offense looks like. Nobody knows what this offense is named. Remember, we had the Texas Toast or something like that. I don't know, for a few years. But with Shoddy, I mean, the reason why we were talking about hunting the last of a dying breed as Hunter's a fullback, we celebrate Moose here on 48 days away from Thursday Night Football. Will Hunter make it? He was my dark horse a couple of years ago to make the team. He made the team. The Cowboys is on his last year of his deal. But I was hearing reports of using Hunter Lipke as a tight end, Kavontae Turpin as a running back, and Deuce Vaughn as a wide receiver. So I don't know. I think Hunter might squeeze in somehow, but maybe there's more to this Jaden Blue thing. Maybe there's not, but we're going to continue to see more of this develop. But it's strictly running back by committee. But if you had to pick one running back here today, Rob, who you think may eventually take the running back one role in this backfield, who do you think it might be?
Oh, man. I saw some film on Jaden Blue. I know what Miles is, man. Jaden Blue can go. Miles Sanders can go. We seen him against Dallas when he was with Philadelphia, man. So I think it's going to be, in my opinion, I think it's going to be out of those two. I mean, you got Turpin, but I don't think he's your every down back. I don't even think he's a third. He might end up in the slot somewhere, but I think it's going to be out of Jaden Blue and out of Miles Sanders. That's my opinion.
Bob, who you got? Who would you put your money on? I know you're not playing fantasy this year, so you don't have to worry about running back by committee or running back one or none of that. But if you had to tag one of these running backs to break out this season, which one might it be?
I'm going Blue too, man. I've been talking about him since we drafted him. And again, this, you know me, man. I am not a college guy. I don't know anything about these kids until they get drafted. I don't know anything about their tape. And then once they get drafted, I'm like, let's look at what they did. And there was just something about this kid making 99% of the first person he encounters miss that made me say, this kid is different. And I know Vaughn did the same kind of thing, but there's just something different about Blue runs a little bit more violently accurate is all I can say, because he just has a way of shaking people out that I was really just saying, I just kept saying, oh my God. And I know that they're highlights. And I know that there's probably plenty of plays that they hand the ball off and he got hit for a loss or something, you know, he did what NFL running backs or what college running backs do. They lose sometimes, but the wins were tremendous. So I think this kid is really kind of the future, man. And again, you were talking about not knowing what our offense has, really what these positions are, what they carry. This is what we wanted. We asked for this for so long. We were screaming about this when Vanilla Garrett was just continuously bringing the same shit over and over and over and over. We kept just do something different. At some point, we were like, we don't care what it is.
Not Zeke
Well,
up the middle, first play of every game, huh?
Now we've got it. Now we've got something where, as fans, we don't even know what the hell's going on. And by the time the 5th game rolls around, we still might not really know what the hell's going on, which is a super awesome thing to feel as a Cowboys fan, because we know what's been going on for the last 10, 15 years. We could probably call what play is going to happen because we know the tendencies, and they rarely break on our coaches. And I'm really hoping that this new coaching staff, or the new mindset of the coaching staff, is really something that kind of brings everything new. We need to modernize things. So I think Luepke's gone. I think the fullback position that I love seeing as a young kid growing up died a long time ago. And the fact that we even had it was a pretty awesome thing. But single back, 2 tight end sets will take care of a fullback need right away. We don't need to worry about it really anymore. That position is going to be good for running backs that can make people miss and do things in space, because really a fullback is just kind of a wasted position now. So Blue, for me, is that guy. He's really that guy, and I think he's going to prove it, which is why I think that BS was written about him, because everybody knows he's that guy. So someone's trying to find something to attach to him right away.
Yeah, he's kind of been like this Kool-Aid everybody's been drinking, and then here he comes, he throws a little Tabasco sauce in the Kool-Aid, and everybody like, what's that? Like, I don't know. I'm not going to be drafting any of the Dallas Cowboy running backs. I'm going to tell you the 2 players that I will draft for fantasy football will be CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Aubrey, the best kicker in the league. I think CeeDee Lamb has if Dak is healthy all season long, I think CeeDee Lamb in any PPR league is probably going to be the best, the most productive. I don't think we'll see Jamar Chase have a repeat from last season, not knocking him and Joe Burrow over there. But, it's hard to repeat like what Jamar Chase did last year. When you got guys like Malik Neighbors coming on, you still got guys in Philadelphia with Devontae Smith and those guys over there. So, we're getting ready to get into training camp. I'm super excited as we get ready to round down the show, but I did want to thank y'all publicly. A lot of folks don't know y'all. I know y'all personally. Y'all are my admins. Any kind of Facebook group you have to have trusted admins. You can't just add people that are on some weirdo type shit. You don't know they're gonna shut your group down or drop some spam in your group and affect folks and stuff like that. But I just want to thank both of y'all, especially as we brought on Rob. I mean, great job today, Rob, on the show, man. You killing it as the AI guy. You know what I mean? You're holding your weight down. We'll have to have you back up here, especially when you get your masterclass back going. But I just want to thank y'all. I think it's great to have an AI admin along with all of our great admins in the group, because that's what keeps OAT, alive and thriving. Is we keep the spam out, we keep the bullshit out. It's a private group. And to get ready to finish out, because my guy Rob on that AI, we're talking about this 88 behavior. Because Drew's my guy, Playmakers is Bob's guy, and you're talking about Reggie Swinton, who's going to be a guest on your show here coming up too as well. But me and you've been talking specifically about this 88 behavior video that will only be exclusive in OAT. I'm excited about that, man. I want to say thank you for stepping up, because you've been messaging me for years. And I'm like, he's like, send me another thing for a t-shirt. I'm like, this guy's real persistent. I love people that are persistent, because a lot of folks will bring you ideas, but no plan. And not only did you bring me an idea, you also brought a plan. So from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank both Rob and Bob here today, as I get your names right, for being admins in the greatest group on Facebook. Yeah,
man. Of course, man. It's been a great journey, man. Rolling with you since 2016, man. It's been it's crazy that it was actually 2016 now that I look back. But
9 years, bro. We've almost been a decade in this, bro.
It's crazy, man. But again, this is really the only group besides maybe another, man, that I've stuck in. And everyone, it's a community. You work so hard to keep it to be not only a place where fans can come, but where fans can meet up, which is it's something that didn't happen a lot coming up, man. It just started blowing up once the internet started connecting people. And you really are the facilitator, man, of all that, BG. So it's a pleasure for me to be an admin for your group, because I know what your vision is. And I know that you not only look for something, but you go and do it. And there's nothing worse than following someone who says a bunch of shit that doesn't do anything. So I roll with the people who know what they're doing. And that's always been you, man. So right back at you.
Appreciate you that, baby. Demonstration beats conversation. Yeah. I'm looking forward to this 88 behavior on this AI stuff and having you back on, Rob, as maybe we've coined the name here, Rob and Bob, or Bob and Rob, or remix it. But Rob, I'm looking forward to all of your AI stuff that you'll be adding into our group. So if you're just watching this and you're a Cowboys fan, you can join us at Official America's Team, because that content will be rolling out this season, and you'll be learning more about Reggie Swinton being on my guy Rob's masterclass. I'll be a guest on there too as well. Thank you for inviting me to be a guest on your masterclass, Rob. I think, collaboration happens at the top, and people that are losing are competing at the bottom. And, when it comes to this content creation stuff, I think everything's about collaboration, man. So kudos to you for reaching out, because I'm excited, baby, because I'm like, I don't want to have to figure out all the AI stuff.
It seems a lot.
So what can you tell us about the 88 behavior as we get ready to round out here? What can folks look for in terms of 88 behavior in OAT this season, Rob?
So, with 88 behavior, it's going to be the things that we come to expect out of 88. And right now it's a lot of pictures. So I'm trying to, working on learning this Google VEO3, which is where you guys are seeing a lot of these AI videos being generated. So I'm still learning about that. It'll be, of course, some more action scenes and just anything creatively that I can come up that represents 88 behavior.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate everybody tapping in here today. It's a Friday edition, live at 6 p.m. on Prime Time. Thank you guys both for your time and joining us here today. Camp is kicking off Monday. I'm super excited. I know you guys are excited. We're going to be hot and heavy back in the gym on Built Different Group next week. Get ready for top of the morning again next week, because you can't sleep on the Cowboys. Shout out to my guy, Joe Boo, sports report out there. You literally can't sleep on the Cowboys, because every day we're going to wake up next week, it's going to be something new about the Cowboys. But we want to thank everybody for tapping in with us here today on all three platforms. We talked a little bit about the news. Trayvon getting fined $500,000. Is Micah Parsons going to be a hold-in or a hold-out? More or less probably a hold-in. The Jadon Blue, is it fake news or not? You still drinking the Kool-Aid? And then more importantly, as we get ready to wrap up here, it's about them Cowboys, baby. I'm super excited. It's our year, baby. Because if we beat the Eagles on Thursday Night Football, you can expect me to say it's our year until it ain't. All right, man. Any parting words before we get out of here, Bob? Any words of wisdom you'd like to share with everybody on Moose Days today?
No, man. Sorry we didn't have a smoke stream on Wednesday, man. I was out making sure that I could get this licensing taken care of for the federal marijuana enforcement division that I'm trying to work with. So, we're gonna get to that this week. I promise we'll come up with something good. But other than that, man, I'm just gonna enjoy the weekend and I just can't wait for football season to start kicking. I can't wait for the Denver-Dallas game. This whole thing's gonna be great, man.
And before we get out of here, Rob, how can folks find you? I shared your Instagram link. Is there any other links or you can drive some folks to that they can check out your Feast or Famine podcast?
So the Feast or Famine podcast is available on most streams. It's on Spotify. It's on Amazon Music. It's on iHeart Network as well. And then my social media is Feast or Famine CC on Instagram as well as TikTok. It's the same handle, Feast or Famine CC on TikTok. So that's where a lot of my posts and everything are at. And also you can get the book on Amazon as well as I have hard copies as well. This is a hard copy of the book.
Nice.
So, it's always
the book plug. We got us a book plug.
Yes. Yes. So absolutely. So it's just been a pleasure being on this show and everything. So I appreciate it.
You held it down. I think Rob and Bob is a thing, man. We're going to have to run it back, maybe spin the block here sometime soon. I'm looking forward to you sharing more AI stuff and also being on your Feast of Famine masterclass. Thanks for joining us here today and holding your own. I'm Bob. That's my guy, BG. That's our guy, Rob, the AI guy, man. We'll see y'all in the gym, baby, on the next episode.
Turn out the lights. The party's over. They say that all good things must end. Call it a night. The party's over. And tomorrow and next year starts the same old thing again.